Good morning. I feel like there ought to be some confetti or balloons falling from the sky. There's so much excitement and enthusiasm in the room this morning. I want to say good morning again. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are absolutely delighted to welcome you to the campus of North Carolina A&T State University and all of the energy and excitement about the United Way and about our community. You know, I have been as busy as I have possibly ever have been in life, as we have been out engaging with outstanding
world
CEOs,
that can happen to a child
corporate
or
partners,
anybody for that.
talking about the United Way, talking about the importance of the needs of our community, sharing our thoughts, enabling and encouraging our corporate CEOs to think incredibly about their own campaigns, thinking about ways in which they may enhance their campaigns this year, enhance employee participation, enhance corporate contributions, changing the way they think, enhancing leadership gifts from their organizations. I want you to know the reaction has been absolutely superb. It really has been. We are excited, we're enthused, and we're delighted you're here this morning. And today we're inviting you to join our conversation about our blueprint for creating lasting change in our community. Change means not measuring money raised, but money given out, as well as people becoming engaged as volunteers, working together, and measuring the impact on the lives and communities that benefit from our investments. It's a way for those who care to collectively focus on the human condition within those communities where help is needed most. You will get a chance to see how this collective impact and activity and action work in the area of education through an outstanding panelist of educators facilitated by Skip Moore of the Weaver Foundation. And then I will ask for your commitment to personally support the community change plans through United Way. First, however, it is my great pleasure to introduce United Way's chair of the board, Sue Cole. Sue is managing partner and founder of Sage Leadership and Strategy. Sue is well known for the corporate leadership and financial services, executive and community leadership skills she brings to everything she does. She helped grow a startup private trust company that was sold to a national wealth management firm and was responsible for client development and client service for an investment boutique specializing in hedge funds. She also headed up a local corporate lending group for a local bank. She has served on dozens of nonprofit boards, as well as numerous public and private corporate boards. Please help me join me in welcoming Sue Cole to the podium. Sue?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Martin, for everything you do, and especially for your incredible commitment to United Way. Isn't this a gorgeous facility? Aren't we lucky to be here this morning? And I think it's only appropriate for all of us to say, go Aggies. Come on with me, go Aggies. Go Aggies. All right, we love those Aggies. I want to say it's truly an honor and a privilege to chair an organization like United Way that does so much for so many people in this community. And you know what? That work would not get done without the dedicated staff we have at United Way. Join me in thanking our staff for everything that they do at United Way. We have an energized board that works tirelessly for United Way. Many of our board members are here today. Would you raise your hand if you're on the board of United Way? Thank you for everything you do. And of course, our work is accomplished by hundreds of volunteers across this city, and we appreciate everything that they do. United Way led a partnership of community leaders to assess human care needs. We called this Voices Choices, and I'll talk more about that later. But out of this assessment, United Way is committed to 3 core focus areas: education, income, and health. We now fund 89 partner agency programs and initiatives, and we hold each of the funded programs to very high standards of accountability. Today, I want to talk to you about how United Way is changing. But first, let's talk about why we are changing. As you can see from the charts, we have experienced a decline in workplace campaign due to fewer people being employed by large corporations. Competition has increased dramatically in terms of donor dollars being asked for by nonprofit organizations. Our community needs are changing. For example, we've seen an increase in poverty and free reduced school lunch rates, and more people are going without health care insurance. These are just a few of the reasons why United Way is changing the way we go about doing our work. A few years ago, about the time Keith Barsoon became president of United Way, the staff and the board began looking at how we could respond to these external changes. Keith and the board, under the leadership of John Cross, began to shape a new strategic plan calling for United Way to adopt new goals. The key measure of effectiveness was community-level change over time. United Way intends to create lasting change in community conditions that will improve lives. Fundraising and funding of programs are strategies. Our donors are our customers, and member agencies are our partners. So what's involved in how we create this lasting change? First, we're becoming conveners and facilitators, working with our community partners to set and achieve community-level goals that will create greater impact. Next, we're setting our funding strategies to align with the 3 focus areas: health, education, and income. Next, we're prioritizing our strategies. And finally, we're measuring the impact of our strategies at the community level. In addition, we know we must and we will build stronger relationships with donors to optimize their time, resources, and voice. Our community planning and funding mechanism, the Impact Council committees, will possess even greater expertise and carry through on a stronger vision and level of community outcome measurement. And finally, we're looking at all of our internal processes and systems to ensure that we are more efficient, effective, relationship-based, and sustainable. We are ready to meet the challenges ahead and are excited about the future for Greensboro. Voices Choices, the Human Needs Assessment, confirmed the following 4 issues as the most important issues to address: financial stability of individuals and families, access to comprehensive health care, successful school experience for every child, nurturing children and youth for positive development. As a result of Voices Choices, I want to give you a brief overview of 2 collective impact initiatives that have been developed by United Way. The initiatives are the Access to Healthcare Task Force and the Greensboro Works Task Force. The Access to Health Care Task Force, a team of 20 social service and healthcare agencies, established community-wide strategies focused on connecting people to health care and creating health care interactions. Specifically, it calls for actions to support health literacy and to build capacity around increased patient navigation activity. The community change goals will measure how many citizens have become capable of accessing health care resources and services for the first time. I want to recognize the Cone Health Foundation and specifically Susan Shoemaker and Antonio Reeves for their leadership supported by United Way of this task force. Thank you, Susan and Antonio. The Greensboro Works Task Force has been convened jointly by the Community Foundation and United Way and is chaired by Nolo Martinez. Its primary goal is to develop a collaborative vision for long-term economic success of our residents. It seeks to connect the dots across existing programs and services to improve economic success of individuals and families. Although this community agenda set in task force is still at work defining goals and strategies, United Way's new funding strategies to support this effort are clear. We want to empower individuals to maximize their income and assets through financial education and to equip the workforce with knowledge and skills to attain and retain the stable employment and living wage jobs. The community change goals will measure households who become employed and remained employed for a specified period of time as a result of program activities and demonstrate greater financial literacy. I want to recognize our partners at the Community Foundation for their co-leadership of this important community collaborative. Here with us today, I believe, are Tara Sandercock and Kevin Lundy. Let's recognize them. I also want to give special thanks to Jean Pudlow, who has been a valuable consultant for these two planning groups. Please refer to your program materials for more information about these initiatives and strategies. I've talked briefly about health care and income focus areas. United Way has been a strong partner with other community and agency leaderships in education, our third focus area. We now want to take you through an example of collective impact at work and the role United Way, through its fundraising, funding, volunteering, and advocacy strategies, is enabling our community change for the benefit of our greatest asset, our youth. We have with us today some of our community's greatest advocates and leaders in education. I want to introduce our moderator, Skip Moore, Director of the Weaver Foundation. Skip, you're a valued partner and friend of United Way. You give generously to this community, and we're all grateful for your passion for Greensboro, and especially your passion for education. Let's give this great panel a hand. And thank you, Skip.
Thank you, Sue. There's stuff going up here behind us, and we don't have any idea what it is. So if we turn around and look every now and then, we're going to try to figure out what's going on up here. I appreciate having an opportunity to be here today and to be with this panel. And one thing I want to do is put this conversation about education in a context, because when we come to a meeting like this, and when we do United Way campaigns and fundraising campaigns, we're always talking about filling gaps. We're talking about weakness, and we're talking about trying to move to strength. But in my opinion, this whole effort in education, United Way, all of us, we're working in a context of strength. This is a strong community. It's a community that cares. We're not working from weakness, and so we're talking about what we can do to achieve more and even be better. And that can't be a better position to work from than that. You know, in terms of education, Greensboro and Guilford County have shown continuing support for education, particularly in regard to our public schools. For years and years and years, 2 bond issues have generated millions of dollars for facilities. And unlike other counties, our commissioners have held our local funding steady over the last several years, while other counties across the state have cut funding to their public school system. And our school system has responded with new programs, overall success in bringing most of their construction projects in under budget and on time, increasing graduation rates, giving more opportunities, and really focusing on individual needs of students and opportunities for them to succeed in whatever situation they're in financially, psychologically, and from a learning point of view. Confidence in our school administration, I think, is at a high point, and there's a good measure of community pride in what we've accomplished here. And we're getting national recognition. This is as it should be. Plan A for Greensboro and Guilford County must be the success of our schools. There is no Plan B. 73,000 students can't go anyplace else. We can't serve them any other way, so we need to focus on our schools and make them the best that they can possibly be. Our economy is transitioning in ways that requires a higher level of education. We can no longer pride ourselves on being a place that puts people to work with just not a high school education or only a high school education. We've got to look at a much higher level of education across the whole county. Our economic recruitment, our economic development, and our attractiveness to people, young families to move here, really rest in large degree on the success of our public school system. But being successful in education is a team sport. It's not going it alone. It's not doing our own thing. The word collective impact you're going to hear over and over because it's all of us finding ways to work together to be more effective, not going it alone and doing things by ourselves. And our panel demonstrates this concept quite well. So let me introduce my colleagues. Now, I know we're supposed to be out of here by 9. I know everyone on this panel except Robin, and I know everyone on this panel can talk easily by themselves till 9. So we're gonna do our best to be brief and to get through this. But let me introduce them each. They'll share some perspectives on aspects of education and what they're doing, and I think you'll see how it comes nicely together. First, we're going to start with community support for public education. Margaret Arbuckle, the Executive Director of the Guilford Education Alliance, is going to address this issue and tell you a little bit more about both GEA and the work of Achieve Guilford, which is an umbrella effort as opposed to being a program of its own. Second, Tony Watlington, the Strategic Planning Officer of Guilford County Schools, and Dr. Terry Worrell, one of our 5 regional superintendents, are going to speak about the county schools' new strategic planning effort and some of the activities that are going on in the school district. Third, Keith Barsoon, President of the United Way, is going to talk about how the United Way came to be involved directly in this effort and how this new model fits with where we're going. And finally, I'm going to chat a little bit with Robin Williams, who's the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Jimmy Williams. Are you related? No. Oh, okay. I never thought about that before I saw it. Who's the Executive Director of Communities in Schools. We're going to talk about the ways they're working with United Way in the mentoring program. And then finally, Keith's going to give an overview of the Mentoring Matters public awareness campaign. Before Margaret speaks, let me just give a very brief background about how in the time I've been here, education has become such a community priority. Back just around, just after the year 2000, Action Greensboro brought in the McKinsey consulting firm. And about the same time, High Point was doing a workforce development study. And they interviewed lots of corporate people. We're thinking money, location, incentives, and all that. Consistently, the issue of public education was at the top of the mind of business executives. And that resulted in 2 common efforts. One was called Commitment to Excellence, and that became Businesses for Excellence Education, and it supports signature projects of importance to the system. It's sort of vertical. Superintendent in the school system identifies projects, and Businesses for Excellence in Education tries to find funds to implement those. Things like the iPad technology project at Montlou, Celebration of Excellence programs, principal preparation and educational programs, Parent Academy, character development, and other programs recommended by the superintendent. Second effort that came out of that was the Guilford Education Alliance. And it has a goal of developing a broad community support through our schools. It's more horizontal across the whole community, providing information, reports, advocacy, programs like Donors Choose, the Education Summit, Education Leadership Academy, and the Teacher Supply Warehouse. So it's a community-wide effort. So we have a vertical and we have horizontal, and it comes together. A 5-year follow-up study confirmed the same kind of approach in public education, and a task force was formed, led by the Guilford Education Alliance, that resulted in Achieve Guilford. It's patterned after a successful effort in Cincinnati known as Strive, and focused on 3 concepts. One is Every Child Ready, cradle to career. Beginning to realize that if we only focus on K-12, we've missed the point. If kids don't come ready for school, and if they don't do something after they graduate, then we really aren't going to be successful. So the whole concept is that education begins at birth and it never ends. The second concept is we need to pay attention to a smaller set of critical success factors that are proxies for a lot of other activities. And finally, collective impact, that leveraging broad community efforts to enhance learning outside the classroom will reinforce what's happening inside the classroom. So it's not trying to tell more people, trying to tell the school system what to do, but trying to go where kids are and see what we can do through current programming to work together to leverage more success in the schools. So as I said, it becomes a team sport. The United Way's become a strong advocate in this effort, and its funding and outcome measurement are critical to making it work. So I want to call on Margaret Arbuckle to tell us a little more about Achieve Guilford and the work that she sees as one of our coordinators.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm so delighted to have an opportunity to sit in front of you this morning. Guilford Education Alliance, as Skip has said, has worked a lot to engage the community in the importance and support of quality public education. And through this task force that Skip described, we looked for ways in which we could expand and deepen the commitment that the community could be involved with in supporting our children's success. And identifying the Strive model out of Cincinnati was a wonderful find for us, because it really gave us the flags around which to focus our work, this cradle to career continuum and the concept of collective impact. We rolled out Achieve Guilford at the Education Summit last November that Guilford Education Alliance sponsors annually, and invited the community to join together in creating opportunities for our children to be successful along this cradle to career pipeline. We reached out to other organizations to be sponsors and invited Businesses for Excellence in Education, which Skip has described to you, the United Ways of High Point and Greensboro, and the Chambers of Commerce of High Point and Greensboro, to join with us in the sponsorship of this community initiative, Achieve Guilford. We created task forces around the critical success factors that had been identified. The Ready for School Task Force, the Reading by Grade 3 Task Force, the career exploration, have our children have a focus from middle school to high school and the importance of what their future could be. And then we connected into the work that Guilford County Schools is already doing around character development and service learning, and also the critical piece of parental support and involvement through the Parent Academy. We have also 2 other pieces that are still in formative stages in identifying some model school ideas, and we have a task force that's looking at helping us create another model school. Guilford County Schools has done such wonderful work in leading the way nationally in creating middle colleges and early colleges, but we're also trying to identify, are there other ways in which our community could be supportive of creating a model school that could give our children even more depth in education. So we have all these task forces at work, and the way I describe it is when I'm a brand new grandmother, and so I have reconnected to that experience of holding a baby in your hand and talking to that precious child. And I will tell you that there's not a single mother who births a baby who wants that baby to stay in her hand. Every mother wants that baby to progress from cradle to career and move out and be independent and self-sufficient and a contributing citizen, so forth. So that's what we are trying to connect the community into helping us achieve. I want to give you a couple of examples of some work that we are particularly leading at Guilford Education Alliance that we're calling Connecting to the Future Economy. See yourself into the future. And at our Education Summit, that's going to be December the 5th, I'll put in that little plug. But we will connect the opportunity for the business and nonprofit community to identify ways in which we can work with our young people to help them to understand what the world of work can be and what the world of work holds for them. You know, we know that our young people today likely will work in jobs that we do not even know. We can't identify, we can't name. But what we do want them to understand is the importance of knowing how to read, write, and think, and problem solve, and think creatively, so that when they approach those jobs, they will be ready for them. So we're giving opportunities to our middle schoolers and high schoolers to tour businesses that are innovative. Particularly, we're focusing on STEM-related industries. And we are inviting teachers to have experiences within those businesses also to take back what the expectations are in that workplace back into their classroom to make their teaching more relevant. We've connected to another nonprofit called Futures for Kids, and which is a web-based way for folks to offer career counseling to young people, and an anonymous kind of Facebook way of answering young people's questions about careers, and then inviting our business community and folks like you to be the career counselors for those. And then we're also inviting our businesses and our nonprofits to help us facilitate opportunities for the Parent Academy and the character development and service learning components of our work within the schools to be incorporated and integrated into the work in our corporations and in our nonprofit communities. So Achieve Guilford is a process, it's an initiative, it's an effort to create the opportunity for all of us to be working together for the success of our children, so that when you hold that baby, you know that that baby's future in Guilford County is assured, that baby will be supported from cradle to career to move into independence and a contributing citizen.
You've got the cradle concern, I've got a son, I've got the career concern going at this point. Margaret, there are a lot of nonprofits, United Way agencies here in the room. GEA is working on future economy and focusing. How can nonprofits here, if they wanted to implement something around future economy planning in their own audience, kids they have in programs, how could they do that?
Oh, we would love that, and that's one of the things that we'll be explaining at the summit. But also, if you want to know, we'll be putting more information on our Achieve Guilford website that will give you a template that will give you instruction, so to speak, on how to engage in becoming a Futures for Kids career coach, how to participate in taking young people into businesses in the ways in which, as nonprofit agencies, particularly with afternoon programs, after-school programs, you can facilitate opportunities for your group of students to either receive demonstrations within your program or to take your young people to visit a business. So one of my mottos of life is imagination is our only limit. And so if you can think it up, I think you can make it happen. And that's what we invite our nonprofits to think. Okay, what of our group of young people, our Boy Scout, Girl Scout troop, our Boys and Girls Club, our Y program, whatever our nonprofit may be focusing, what group of young people they may be focusing on, what are some of their needs in terms of being able to see themselves into the future? And then we will have on our Achieve Guilford website some guidelines, some templates to help you to move forward in being able to put these ideas into your program.
And the way that all fits together is that we know if a kid is thinking about what he or she wants to do as a career and then understands the educational academic requirements to get there, the chances of them pursuing that and lowering the dropout rate is better. So it all kind of goes along. There are certain goals around each of the critical success factors for Achieve Guilford, and these are tied very closely to the strategic goals of Guilford County Schools. We only can have one set of goals for academic achievement here. We can't pursue a lot of different goals. So Achieve Guilford has adopted the Guilford County Schools strategic goals in the certain areas that it's focusing on in order to bring that impact and leverage that success. So I'm going to ask Tony and Terry to take a couple of minutes and talk about the strategic planning process, where they are in that, and then Terry to talk a little bit about some of the programs that come out of that.
Okay, thank you and good morning again. You'll recall that 4 years ago, Guilford County Schools launched its first strategic plan when we got a new superintendent, Mo Green. And that was a very ambitious plan to kind of guide us over the next 4 years. It seems like the 4 years went by really fast, doesn't it? In that plan, as Skip said, we developed 21 aggressive academic goals and 36 non-academic goals. And we identified a total of 98 strategies that we were going to really devote all of our effort, energy, and resources to. And we asked ourselves, how are we going to really move this ball to take North Carolina's third largest school district, probably the best district in the state, but the third largest, and really get on with this business of excellence, as the superintendent often talks about and charges us to make sure that we're doing. And a couple of things we thought about. Number one, we've got to be good stewards of our fiscal and human resources and strategically use them in ways that work best for children. Another area that we've looked at is to be sure that we are implementing research-based best practices in every classroom every day for the children, the 73,000 children of Guilford County Schools. A third area that's equally important as anything else that we do is this whole notion of really ramping up our engagement with parents and community. And hopefully you see several indicators that show that we're working hard to do that. Hopefully many of you are familiar with Guilford Parent Academy, which in just 2 years has served over 15,000 students. Many of you may be familiar that there's a big focus in the district on character development and service learning. And when we think about how our young people are engaged within their communities, kind of integrating what they learn inside of the classroom with what's going on in their communities. Last year, over 515 students for the first time earned service learning diplomas. One of my favorite service learning activities that bridges that classroom learning with community occurred when there was a group of kids who went to study some pollution in their community and developed a service project to clean up a stream and to also study the effects of that situation in their honors biology class. So that's one way that we continue to get, a couple of ways that we continue to get our kids engaged. Last year we had a number of kids who participated in our first Cool to Serve event, and a young lady from Grimsley High School, who's the oldest of 9 children, actually won a car. And I see Greg Newland, the principal of Grimsley, so he's representing the Worleys this morning. They were very proud with that. So you'll kind of see throughout the strategic plan this notion that we've got to ramp up our parent and community engagement. And let's be really clear that Achieve Guilford is a key partner in helping us to connect those dots and to provide these kind of opportunities. I think Dr. Worrell will talk a little bit more about what that looks like in the regions and schools.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Watlington. It is my pleasure to work with Achieve Guilford in thinking about how do we align all of our community resources to support some of the things that we are striving to accomplish within the Guilford County Schools, and thinking about our current strategic plan. For instance, one of those areas is our focus on literacy. As many of you know, we challenged our students to read 1 million books and in 2010, and they accomplished that task by reaching about 1.2 million. The following year, we challenged them to read 2 million books, and they exceeded that expectation also, reading approximately 2.4 million books. And now we have challenged our students to read 3 million books by January of 2013. And as we see literacy as being a strong component of our plans within our strategic plan and a focus area of Achieve Guilford. When we think about how we can continue to promote what we are doing with our efforts and our partner community support of our books for our students, many of our agencies here in this room have provided books for our students and have provided tutors and mentors for our students in our classrooms. Career readiness is another significant focus of our district strategic plan. And thinking about career readiness and what we are doing through some of our committees with Achieve Guilford in giving our students opportunities to have career coaches through Futures for Kids, where many of you can go on the website and sign up to be a career coach, which is absolutely fabulous for our students. In looking at our students within Guilford County Schools, we know that it's so important that they graduate on time and being career and college ready. And thinking about that they are responsible citizens, and thinking of how are some of the things that we can do that in working together with our community partners. This past school year, our students had a graduation rate of about 84.2%. That was about 4% percentage points higher than the graduation rate within our state of North Carolina. Also, we are so pleased to recognize our last year's seniors. They were offered over $139 million in scholarships. Today in Raleigh, we have our schools being recognized as having 100% graduation rates, and there are 6 of our schools in Raleigh this morning being recognized for that effort. This past school year, we planned and we implemented the newest opening of our STEM school here at North Carolina A&T State University, with a huge partnership with Chancellor Martin and with many community members and much business community support within Guilford County. And also, the year before last, we opened our new middle college at UNCG. None of those schools could be possible without our community partners and the strong support that we have for our students. Tomorrow night, we will have a celebration of excellence in education that will be held over at Eastern Guilford High School, where we will recognize our Teacher of the Year and our Principal of the Year. And we will also recognize 16 of our most improved schools within Guilford County. That event is another example of how we rely on our community partners to support our students, to support our educators, and to recognize and reward all of their strong efforts. Our community support is critical to what we do within our school district, and seeing how we have aligned with Achieve Guilford and with United Way is so important for our continued movement in reaching our goals for our students here in Guilford County.
Tony?
I'll just make a couple of additional comments. The Guilford County School District is indeed at a crossroad. We're closing out the 2012 strategic plan, and we're in the process of developing the next district strategic plan. We've been reaching out to a lot of community groups to get input. So if we've not reached your group, we're coming. I'll also tell you that that new strategic plan is going to launch on January 31st, so you can take out your smartphone and Blackberries and hold that date, if you will, please, the evening of January 31st. Couple of things that's going to be really important to us moving forward is one of the things that you're going to see a lot of attention devoted to, And this is something we've gotten great help from our partners at the Achieve Guilford, the United Way, and Communities in Schools. We are aggressively attacking and addressing this issue of African American male achievement and success in our schools, something that a lot of districts are not as comfortable getting right up to the plate and addressing that issue. And what are the two things that we're really looking at? Literacy rates going significantly up, and disciplinary referrals and suspensions going significantly down. By doing research-based best practices and by enlisting all of the support of our school district and our community in that effort, and we are certainly going to be better for it. And there are also some pilots that are going around the district, some pilot programs that are being studied around the district, but I won't steal Jimmy Williams' thunder with regard to that. I'll just conclude by saying that success is indeed a team effort, and we are so appreciative of what the United Way and Achieve Guilford do to support and partner with the Guilford County Schools.
Thank you. Well, you know, the feelings go two ways. This is a very open administration, very open school system, and very much receptive to community input. The Futures for Kids thing has come up a couple of times, and I think it's really interesting because this is an example of how we can leverage something that exists in the school system into the community. This is a web-based program that a kid can go into and answer a number of questions, and then it suggests careers that they might be interested in. And then as they pursue that, it'll tell them what the education requirements are. Then it'll tell them what colleges offer the kinds of programs they need to take. Every kid, 6th grade on, in the Guilford County school system has access to that program. And if you have kids and you want to do mentoring around careers in your nonprofit or your agency, you can log in with them into that program and work with them and use that resource at no charge. It's available online and it can be done. If they don't know their password, they can get it from their counselor. The career coach part works kind of like Facebook. So if they say they want to be a nurse, then they can post questions on that go out to career counselors who are nurses. Is there a lot of blood in the hospital? You know, and they can answer these questions. The nurses can answer, and they can have a dialogue. But Futures for Kids puts a firewall between the person, so there's no personal contact. So you see, if we leverage that, and we get lots of kids in middle school and high school using that program that the school system already has, and then we do visits and speakers and internships and things that we leverage in the community, it'd be a very, very powerful kind of thing to do. Keith, Achieve Guilford is sponsored by the United Ways of Greensboro and High Point, the Education Alliance, the school system, Chambers of Commerce in High Point and Greensboro, Action Greensboro, and Businesses for Excellence in Education. But when we talk to the United Way about becoming a sponsor and being a part of Achieve Guilford, what did you see that brought you to it, and how has being involved in this effort changed what the United Way is doing?
Well, first of all, it was indeed an honor when Margaret called and asked us to participate on the steering committee and be a sponsor. And I first want to say we come at this because of the strong work and outcomes and results that the many programs we've funded year in and year out have provided. This shift for us is not about finding new programs to invest in. It's about building on great programs and working more effectively together and get focused and start measuring results on a community level. And so I felt that being a part of this effort, instead of just watching it and continuing to fund what we do, was certainly the right thing for us to do, and even more so when asked to chair the school readiness subcommittee of Achieve Guilford. And I think, our good work that's done by our child care scholarshiping through the Guilford Child Development, as well as our Thriving at 3 activity that's very effectively focused in the Latino community in Claremont Courts to deal with the emotional, behavioral, and health issues of children aged 0 to 3, has been doing extremely well. And from that, we come with a little bit of a position of experience. I would also like to thank the Bryan Foundation and the Simula Foundation and the Weaver Foundation and American Express that has helped underwriting all that, and our Tocqueville Women's Society, who has been an important force to help launch some of the work that has happened in success. So with that, we saw the opportunity to, and actually doing the school readiness in partnership with our United Way friends in High Point, we saw a great opportunity to begin to pull together leaders around what more can we do in this area. And so we have a plan, and I think that plan focuses on medical, on positive parenting, to name a few key areas. And those have helped to influence United Way's funding objectives and strategies in this area, which again is a very important piece as Greensboro works, as the Access to Health Care Task Force work has been a strong influencer in new objectives and strategies for United Way. So has this, and so we have a goal to ensure that, and up on the screen is lifted out of your program, are a few of the key strategies, objectives around school readiness, around more children and youth achieving the competencies to have success in schools. And we've also lifted a couple of the strategies here that connect to those objectives. And so supporting parents as a child's first and most important teacher is an area that the work of Thriving at 3 and many other organizations is obviously very closely aligned with. I'm very proud to say that 94% of the kids under the Thriving at 3 program are meeting the developmental milestones that will help ensure they enter kindergarten ready to learn. 93% of them have a medical home, and our immunization schedules are on schedule. So that's the type of success that we want to see, that we want to build and grow. And I think on the other strategy that talks about parents or another caring adult being a part of and more very actively involved in that child's education is what has transitioned us into this position of leadership around mentoring. I want to also first recognize and thank, if it wasn't for the fierce focus and vision of United Way's African American Leadership Group, I'm not sure we would be in this arena of developing a community-wide mentoring plan. But because of their charge for us to get more focused on the plight of the African American male, out of that came an outstanding pilot project that Jimmy will talk a little bit about later, and has put us, along with Chief Guilford's support, to build mentoring as a community-wide strategy to work together with all mentoring organizations in this community to enhance their effective practices, to look for common measures, and also to get the word out that mentoring is important and how can we get more caring adults to become mentors, with a special focus around African American and Latino boys. So that's what we're working on, and we have a pretty bold plan that is now that we are beginning to develop. And what's important is this campaign that we are launching now is going to be a very important thrust for our ability to implement that work and the work of all the other organizations that support it. So I think for us, the Chief Guilford has been a strong influencer for us to rethink how we can be more effective and strategic in how we are working with partner agencies and other community leaders and really beginning to measure impact more collectively.
Thank you. It's interesting, too, because as we are getting grant applications, we're beginning to see agencies talking about how they're connecting what they're doing to the success factors. I know Lincoln Financial Foundation, we and others are beginning also to focus on how we sort of emphasize our funding and leverage everything we can. But you know, when I thought you said fierce determination and leadership, in my mind, I saw Michelle Gethers Clark, who was the real advocate for a lot of this stuff. But we have Jimmy Williams and Robin Williams, both at agencies that deal with kids in different ways. And I'd like to ask you to speak a little bit about your programs and mentoring. I know you both do a lot of different kinds of things and have a variety of programs, but if you'd focus in on those, that would be terrific. Robin, you're going to go first?
Thank you, Skip. And thank you for listening. As I hear people talk, and I'm not the fearless leader, it's our executive director, Chuck Hodiern, but I am a worker bee who has been working for 25 years with children that needed mentors, children facing adversities in their life. And as I hear people talk about the 73,000 children in the Guilford County school system, the pleasure of mentoring is you don't look at the whole ocean, or we do. We want every child to succeed, but we take it one drop at a time, one child at a time, and we look at those adversities, we look at those traumas, those challenges, we look at their strengths, and we say, how can we enhance that child's life? And how we do it is by introducing this very positive mentor into their life, someone that's going to be their champion. And I think probably everybody in the room has had a champion in their life. Someone, not your parent, but someone that was always there consistently saying, you can do it. I believe in you. Keep trying. You don't know how to do this? I'll show you how to do this. And that's the magic of mentoring. You give them something individually, and this person invests time with them. I was able to share with Chancellor Martin that I've been here a long time, and one of the children that we matched over 20 years ago that was facing terrible adversity and loss in their life still has that 20-year relationship with their mentor. And she's now back at North Carolina A&T as an assistant professor of art. And she's also working on her PhD over at UNCG. Still has that relationship, the ultimate success story. So it's just really so important what we do on an individual basis. And you look at that family, that children get opportunities because they are so challenged. And you've got to take them and let them have experiences. You've got to assist them. That's why we're a partner with the school system, because we really are a support service. We help children to become more successful in their school performance. We help children learn to make better choices, have better behaviors. We make children aware of the opportunities within our community. We help to expand their vision. We just did some surveying of a parent, and this is, it's not specific, but one parent wrote, the program and the volunteer make my daughter feel like a princess, and that just said so much to me. We just encourage children so much, and as a program, we provide opportunities. In fact, we just recently partnered with Reading Connections because we want to help our staff be more skilled in helping our volunteers to address this issue of reading and literacy, because it is so important to every child in the school system. We have the community program. We get children out. They go to parks. They go to libraries. They have experiences that their own parents, because of many limitations, cannot provide for them. Big Brothers Big Sisters is definitely evidence-based, Skip. And we also, like Jimmy, have school programs. We've partnered with many of the Guilford County school systems. So I know it's already 9 o'clock, and I know you had not met me. I'll stop talking, or we will be here a lot longer.
So you fit in with everyone else just perfect, right?
Yes. So just, anybody who has ever talked to me know I'm just passionate about it. It makes such a difference in the life of each individual child. And it's just common sense. And I'm so glad that the United Way is going to invest money in what is common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what Communities in Schools is doing in mentoring, and then about the program that you have at Wiley.
Okay. Robin stole all of my thunder, Tony.
Okay,
so
thank
you didn't have, yeah. Mentoring, or what we refer to as a one-on-one relationship with a caring adult, is a part of a package of resources that we connect to our students. And that particular package is most evident at Dudley High School under the leadership of Francine Scott, who is really the driver behind our success at Dudley. We look at mentoring as an incredible piece in student success and successful student outcomes and positive outcomes for youth. I I do want to mention perhaps another side of mentoring, however, and this is for those of you who are engaged in mentoring or perhaps interested in pursuing a mentoring relationship. The downside of mentoring is that if those programs are not structured well, if mentors are not trained appropriately, if the relationships don't last at least a year, there can be very harmful results of mentoring. And I think we need to be sure as we look at mentoring matters, that we need to make sure that we account for those chinks in some of the mentoring relationships, and certainly in the research that we look at. I would like to echo Keith and Skip's remarks about the fierce determination and leadership of the African American Leadership Group of the United Way in launching the initiative at Wiley Elementary under the leadership of Rashad Jones. This initiative was launched last year. We worked with 53 or so boys initially. And I gotta tell you, two of the coolest things that happened. One, when you ask what mentoring means to some of our boys at Wiley, they'll say bicycles. This community was so wonderfully generous to these kids around the holiday season. So many of them received bicycles, and Frank McCain and the United Way made sure that all the families had food during the holidays. And it was the beginning of an incredible school-community relationship at Wiley through the African American Guilford County Schools United Way and Communities and Schools program. All of our boys scored proficient end of grade tests at Wiley Elementary, which is absolutely phenomenal. You can clap. And though we may not be able to connect directly the mentoring initiative to that specific outcome, one of the most incredible stories, and I told Keith that Rashad should be up here because he would tell this much better. One of our boys had a meltdown before the end of grade test, and they called his mentor. His mentor left his job and came to the school, and he calmed him down, and as my grandmother would say, he talked some courage into him. He went in, he took his test, and he scored proficient. And I think that that is one of the most incredible examples of the difference that a caring adult can make in a kid's life. That kid really believed in that mentor believed in that kid, and they got through that together. And in a lot of respects, I know in my life and the life of others, mentoring meant that I wasn't alone in the world, and that I was a part of something bigger than myself. There was a trust and relationship that I could count on with lots of men and women who have stepped in and mentored me. As a matter of fact, I called Mona Edwards. I was talking with Mona Edwards yesterday, who is a wonderful member of our board. And I said, you know, you need to start mentoring me. I'm coming out there to find out a little bit more what you do at the Center for Creative Leadership. I'm still looking for mentors. Thank you.
Hey, Rashad, stand up and let people recognize you. Thank you.
Robin just did such a good job. I do need to feel a bit more complete and let you know that we are expanding the Wiley project to Jackson this year. We will start out with 12 boys, 27 boys. Yeah, because we done picked up some children at Jackson, because what's happening is very interesting. The Jackson leadership have learned more and more about the project at Wiley, and they now, Michelle and Tamara and the African American Leadership Engagement Group, want us to cover all 80 some odd of their boys. Skip, that speaks to one of your questions. But we are very delighted that we have hired a wonderful young man to manage the project at Jackson, and he will be working under Rashad's leadership. And we are just delighted that that will be going forward, and we look forward to reporting to you in about 4 or 5 years that we are moving forward with this group to high school.
And one of the things in getting more mentors that has been developed as a public awareness campaign around the concept that mentoring matters. I'd like to ask Keith just to briefly share about that.
We were very blessed to have a great friend here with our United Way in an organization called Lorillard. And Lorillard, I think this was a dual strategy for them. One was they cared a lot about the issue, and they found many of their employees were mentors for many kids around the community, and felt this was something that they could really get behind when they began to hear of the need to create a community-wide effort. And secondly, it was also the final piece of their total giving last year that helped them break $1 million in 1 year to United Way, and that's the first company to do that. And we thank all the folks at Lorillard for all their great support, and they're right here in front of me. Thank you so much. So with those dollars and a little help from their marketing experts and a lot of sweat equity work from my marketing staff, now led by John McClendon, and many others at the United Way, we have launched the public awareness campaign for Mentoring Matters. We have media partners, including our friends at WFMY, our friends at the News and Record, and also Clear Channel Communications that is providing the radio spots. And so we have, and this is a copy of the ad that's in the News and Record. If you haven't seen this yet, you must not be subscribed to the News and Record, and you better subscribe to the News and Record. And secondly, if you have not seen the 30-second spot we're about to show, you must not be watching FMY, so you need to start watching FMY. As I watch almost every morning and watch that 30-second spot. And Lee Keinert was so gracious to be a part of our first spot, and we can roll that now. And
I owe my career path and all that followed to a mentor. It's the greatest thing in the world that can happen to a child or anybody for that matter, to help someone see the way, to uncover the light and the promise. It got me into your house. Those mentors did, a high school teacher and a radio station manager.
Invest in a child's future by becoming a mentor. Contact United Way of Greater Greensboro. Mentoring Matters, supported by the employees of Lorillard.
so as Lorillard and other organizations are beginning to see the great opportunity of not just providing dollars, but also time and a voice, a critical voice to those who need it. We see a great opportunity to build this program, and many other things will come of it too for those kids and those families. An example in the Wiley community, what the mentors quickly learned was a need to deal with other issues around that child and its family, so we expanded our summertime meaningful meals program into the Wiley School, including a Gillespie area. So that's the type of total holistic effort I think that will continue to evolve as a result of this.
Thank you. Well, I hope that the 2 points have really been made today in this discussion. First is that achieving educational success for our students is a job for all of us. It's a team sport. We've got to work together to make collective impact to make it happen. And second, the United Way is a critical partner in this effort. It's deserving of your support, your active involvement, your contributions. Money isn't everything, but it's sure a good tool, and you can help in that regard. Like they said in the Best Marigold Hotel, it's going to all be fine in the end. If it's not fine, it's not the end. Join me in thanking our panel participants.
Skip, I'm sorry, Francine Scott would absolutely kill me if I don't do this. One of the most exciting, dynamic pieces of mentoring that we do at Dudley High School involves college students from North Carolina A&T. They are a group of young men here who mentor a group of our boys at Dudley, and then we have a corresponding group of young ladies from UNCG who mentor our young ladies. And I got to tell you, as we look at mentoring, college-age students is a great source for us, and those young people are doing a wonderful job. So you should know that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Turn all the microphones off now.
Thanks very much. Let's give our panelists another round of applause, please. Skip, thank you for doing an incredible job. Outstanding. So now you've heard from Sue Cole, you've heard from an outstanding panelist. Our blueprint for lasting change. Please take these with you as you leave today. Our blueprint for lasting change. Obviously defined to make an incredible difference in the lives of our citizens in the greater Greensboro community in Guilford County. Obviously, we have to make investments. The campaign is critical to raising the monies necessary to make the investments so that we continue to make these exceptional differences in the lives of our citizens who need our help. So, we have worked and given much thought to the investments that need to be made to ensure that we continue to move forward our agenda. So our goal for this year, for the 2012-13 United Way of Greater Greensboro campaign is $11 million. $11 million. We can do this. We can do this. With all of our help, we can do this. I assure you. We're giving it our very best effort. We've got a great campaign cabinet. There are members here who are present. If you would raise your hands where you are, we'd appreciate that. An outstanding campaign cabinet. We're going to put pressure on them to make this happen. We also have a great fundraising staff. Fundraising staff, if you raise your hands, we'd love to have you recognized as well. Fundraising staff. Thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of work to do. I know the time is short, but let me challenge you as part of our call to action this morning to get involved, support the United Way by giving, advocating, and volunteering. We also want to encourage you to volunteer by participating in the following ways. As a mentor under the Mentoring Matters initiative, as a volunteer reader for the Thriving at 3 initiative, become engaged in the Access to Health Care initiative, become engaged in Greensboro Works, service on one of United Way's Impact Council teams. And before you leave, make sure you stop by one of the tables outside to get information related to education, income, and health so that you may indeed be prepared to help us realize our $11 million goal. Give feedback, sign up, help us. Pull others into our help today and in the coming weeks. $11 million, let's make this happen. We can do this. Have a great day. Be safe. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's a little pretty.